Good evening. Welcome to tonight's live stream. I am going to get started with tonight's show in a minute. I just need to let everybody on social media know that the stream is currently on the air.
Baby, bring me a bottle of water. I've asked Angie, bring me a bottle of water. No, the smaller. Thank you, baby. All right, well, of course I will.
Okay, I've let everybody on social media know that the stream is on the air, and I want to give some greetings to Steve Awala Mack from Darkchester, the Bronx, New York, and let everybody know that we're going to get into some perfunctory before I go and introduce my guest, Mr. Chris from Chris and Company. And I want to give everybody a progress report on the SJS Direct 2024 catalog. Now, the SJS Direct 2024 catalog is in the middle of final edits, and I'm getting ready to announce and launch the pre-order for the first book of the year, John Haynes' Illuminati, in 2024. So those ads are coming, and a link to the pre-order is coming. I'm in the middle of the final edits, and that book will be on its way for March 22nd. So mark your calendars. The SJS Direct 2024 catalog launches on March 22nd with John Haynes' Illuminati. And from there, we will be launching the other books of the SJS Direct catalog, ISIS, Dark Incubus, and Esteem Horror in the Hamptons. All of those books will be coming this spring as part of the SJS Direct 2024 catalog, along with a refresh of the first Modern ISIS series book, ISIS Omari's Revenge. So all of those books are coming in 2024. And while we have a few more days of 2023, you can pick up the books of the SJS Direct 2023 catalog, John Haynes Godbreaker and John Haynes 1987, which are available right now on Amazon.com. And you can also pick up the 2022 Kickstarter comic, John Haynes at Death's Door. Now, I have been saving up some money to try to get the next SJS Direct comic out here, and I've saved up a lot of my super chats and Cash App donations to try to get that next comic out. And that's one of the goals that I want to pursue for 2024. I've got some scripts for an ISIS comic ready, and Antonio Baldari is eager to get out here and do another comic. And I would like to do one with him, possibly with the Goddess Next Door, or possibly, if I can, raise enough money, do two comics, but I can only do that with yourself. So that's what I'm working on, hoping for 2024. And I've also started doing some drafts of 2025 SJS Direct books. So I've got a lot of projects out here that I'm really eager to share. And I'm really eager to share everything about the SJS Direct catalog. So with all that done, I'm going to get into tonight's topic. And tonight's topic is a continuation of a video that I produced in collaboration with Mr. Chris from Chris and Company. And that video was one where we were talking about the difference between mainstream Black media versus digital B1 Black media. And there's going to be a major difference as related to mainstream media and B1 digital Black media. And we're going to notice that difference this upcoming year. And what you're going to notice is a major difference because mainstream media is going to go out of its way to try to promote Joe Biden, whereas B1 digital Black media is going to give you a completely different perspective, one that may be far more accurate to reality from what I've seen from a New York Post article. Now, I'm going to be discussing the differences between mainstream media and digital B1 black media with my guest today, Mr. Chris from Chris and Company. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing I'm doing absolutely fabulous, sir. On a great Friday night, and my holidays have been even better. I have family that's visiting me out here in the desert, and so that's also has boosted my morale. And always, it's always a pleasure being on here with you, Sean.
Awesome. I really love having you on the show every time we have a good show, and people really love these shows. So really eager to discuss this topic because there's a big difference between mainstream media and V1 digital black media, and everybody's going to notice that in 2024 because right now the mainstream media, which is basically controlled by the left, is not really happy with the black community as related to their support of current President Joe Biden. Now, current President Joe Biden's approval ratings have been dropping all over in the polls, and he's basically at about 38% nationally, and those numbers are even lower in black communities. And what's going on is that what the media wants to do in 2024, because Joe Biden's approval rating has basically dropped, and he's seeing support walking away from him, first starting with black men in 2020, and now you're starting to see black women walk away. So, what we're seeing right now is the mainstream media looking to find a scapegoat for Joe Biden's low numbers and looking to try to demonize a group as related to creating a narrative to say that it's the black community that's out of line for not supporting Joe Biden. And that's where they want to blame new black media that's online for Joe Biden's waning support. And that's basically going to be the start of the narrative to try to get people back on the blue party plantation.
Exactly, and that's why this broadcast and the part one pieces, your part one and my part one that I did when this past Wednesday, are more likely going to be one of the most important episodes. Why do I say that? The reason that I brought this up with you, Sean, is because I felt that we needed to try to kind of head things off at the pass, not sit around and just constantly take the defensive, but take the offensive when it comes to, well, the Chitlin circuit, black mainstream media coming after us. And I think with our platforms, letting our loyal listeners and followers know that, yeah, there are going to be some episodes coming in 2024 that are going to get awfully ugly, and that when these guys, and also the Cooning digital media end of media, when they come after us because we're talking the same talking points as Professor Black Truth, Tariq, Tori and Rain, and others, they're going to start naming names. They're going to be pointing out folks. You know, they're starting with Tariq and they're starting with Kevin Samuel. Kevin Samuels is dead, and I don't really think he's a B1 guy, but a lot of what he said was B1-ish. So him, Tariq, Jason Black, they're gonna name drop more and others coming in 2024. I'm looking to expand my platform. So as I expand my platform, I expand my outreach on the niceradio.network.com. Yes, that's going to bring more eyes. That's going to bring more ears. They're going to hear what I've been saying. Every every single broadcast that I done in 2023 is on www.niceradio.network.com. Plus, I've also have put some of my older broadcasts that I've done in years past on that website too. And I'm telling you, it's gonna piss people off. So I'd rather for us to be at the head of it than to be just being reactive. And so that, if we don't have to, if once, with us being ready, we don't have to get ready because we're already ready. Does that
That's
make
the way
sense?
I saw it myself. I mean, I saw this coming ever since I'd say the 2020 election, after Joe Biden threw the middle finger up at black people and they started seeing the numbers of support starting to support the red party when Donald Trump went black. Then I started to say, hey, this is going to be something's going to happen in 2024 back then. And I'm looking at the big picture of media because I've been studying media for over 25 years. And as someone who's been a part of new black media since about, I say about 2002, because I started publishing my own stuff because I couldn't publish it with mainstream publishers, I know that there's going to be some sort of action taken by the mainstream media because they see themselves losing more control over the black masses, and they see that people are more tuning in to new black media. And as they see people tuning in to new black media, they're starting to see the influence of new black media on black people because we're starting to see a lot more black people walk away from the blue plantation, and they're walking away from the blue plantation because the mainstream media basically wound up screwing black people over with the whole Obama campaign back about, I'd say, about 16 years ago. Now, 16 years ago, they were able to sell black people on the soap of hope and change. But over the 8 years that Obama was in office, what happened was we didn't get much hope or change. Instead, we got talked down to by Barack Obama, and as we got talked down to by Barack Obama, he started to really alienate a lot of black people. And as he was alienating black people, we started to see voices of new black media rise, like Jason Black, Professor Black Truth, and the late David Carroll, who basically, I believe, revolutionized everything with his classic video, No Hope, No Change for the Negro, and basically started making black people think about the Blue Party from a more critical perspective. And as we started thinking about the Blue Party from a more critical perspective, because of the late David Carroll telling us about Barack Obama being an empty suit, and then we had Jason Black going out here and revealing things about the Blue Party as related to the way they handled Michael Brown and showed people the process. And then we had Professor Black Truth talking about tangibles. We saw a complete change as related to black people's thinking because we no longer have these boomers who can get influenced by an empty symbolic gesture like Bill Clinton playing the sax on the Arsenio Hall show. No, we're getting more informed black people by new black media, and they're starting to think critically about how they vote and starting to think about what they're getting for their vote. So we're seeing black people starting to start thinking more critically, and that is all due to the influence of new black media. And that's got many in the Blue Party upset about the impact of new black media over the last couple of years, because now they no longer can take the black vote for granted. And now, as they're starting to see themselves losing elections, like they saw in Virginia with the governor's race, and recently in Houston with the mayor's race, they can no longer take the black vote for granted anymore. And that's something they've looked forward to. And that's why they want to start to try to reframe the narrative to make new black media the bad guy, because what they want to do is make the new black media the enemy, and do this because they know that their track record is something they can't run on. So what they want to do is deflect, like they did with 2022 with abortion, with the congressional races, but they still lost the House. But the whole thing is that they want to find somebody to demonize so that people can go on the Joe Biden gravy train. But the Joe Biden gravy train is basically in a bad place. And it's in a bad place right now because Again, nobody's listening to Joe Biden. They're looking at the results and realizing that they have been gaslighted. And as they realize they've been gaslighted, what they want to do is try to gaslight people into believing new black media is the enemy. That's the plan for 2024. I predicted back in 2020 and 2022. And it's one that we need to be getting ready, stay ready for. I mean, I was ready for it way back then, but we want to get everybody on the same page in new black media because what's coming is a campaign to try to discredit new black media as we present the facts to people.
Exactly. And they're going to do that in a couple of different fronts. They're going to demonize black men because that is their go-to. You know, demonize black men who are critical thinkers, like like you and myself. Uh, uh, Smut shows like The Real and what is that? The one Joy Reid is on, that are going to try to tell black folks to fall in line. Uh, uh, Digital media, tabloid, anti-black sites like like the Grio and the Root, that they claim that they cover black news stories, but they have no qualms putting out op-ed garbage pieces about black men. For instance, the Root put out a story. About black men being the white men of the of the community, and then the Grio put out something talking about black male privilege, as if black male privilege exists. And even though these stories are old, it shows their character. It shows who they truly and really are. And you know, they are not part of the B1 digital black media. And they're going to be coming after us. And here's the thing. When they get on these soapboxes, and I'm talking about the Roland Martins, I'm talking about the Roland Martins and the Candace Owenses. They're the worst. They only they never refer to the black to the black collective, the black grassroots collective that have been clamoring for reparations and been clamoring for an anti-black hate crime bill. Neither one of those two never ever bring those up on their platforms. But yet you got the queen of coons, super coon, Candace Owens, making disparaging comments about George Floyd, and she's saying that George Floyd basically got what he deserved. And then Tucker Carlson, just a few nights ago, said the very same damn thing. And these people are absolutely dangerous, and they're abhorrent in every way, shape, and form. Because see, white supremacy does not only come from white people. No, 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 no. It does come from people who look like us. Roland Martin and Candace Owens, they're in that club, and they love being there.
Yeah, they love to have these black bootlegs come out here and say the things that they want to say. And what they do is go out here, and since they know if they attack us directly, where they're going to be seen as the racist they are, both on the left and the right, because you have Candace Owens, who is on the right, you have Roland Martin, who's on the left. This is showing us that red and blue are anti black, and it shows black people that we really have no allies, and this is what they are, is basically both against us. And again, they are not B1 black media because they put black people last. No, what they want to do is go out here and parrot the talking points of both the left and the right. And they're doing this in the hopes of creating a covert contract where they hope to get themselves jobs. Now, they are looking out for their interests, but they're not looking out for Black people's interests, like B1 Black media. That's new Black media that is Black first, and it focuses on empowering Black people. It focuses on getting Black people tangibles for their vote. And one of the most important things I notice about, again, new Black media, that's B1, is it focuses on getting our minds right and getting our head in the right space. That's one of the reasons why I like to watch guys like Professor Black Truth and Mr. Superboy and Lisa Cabrera and I'd say Mad Black 80, is that they focus on getting our head right as related to this campaign against white supremacy. Because if you are having your head right, you understand that neither side is for you. And that's where the Black bootlicks are dangerous because they go out here and get the Black face to tell people what they want to hear on either side, but neither side is for us, and neither side is interested in empowering Black people. No, they're just jockeying to try to get themselves a job on one of these cable networks or keep a job in a cable network or looking to get themselves one of these jobs in Joe Biden's cabinet. So, this is why new Black media is important because new Black media is going to give you a balanced perspective as related to these rhetorical talking points because these rhetorical talking points by these parrots and these puppets are basically done to stimulate Black people's emotions, tell them what they want to hear, make them feel good, but not really give you the truth. And that's why there's a campaign, again, to go against new Black media because they like to keep their Black voters stupid. And there's a job to keep the Black voter dumb so that they can control the Black voter and go out here and get resources at the Black voters' expense. And that's what has been done, and keep our points as related to our agenda from being presented up front. Because we really needed that anti-Black hate crime bill ever since the days of Emancipation Proclamation. We really need things as related to putting standards for punishing rogue police officers and race soldiers in effect as related to law. And we also need to get reparations to be a serious thing because many Black people had their entire lives impeded because of the current and ongoing discrimination and the past discrimination that's been going on and the racism and Jim Crow. We have been denied an opportunity to be able to actualize our potential in this country. And these are things people don't want to talk about in mainstream media. No, they want to make it about Trump and Biden, but we need to be focused and on point. And that's what we are trying to do in new Black media, focus on getting tangibles. And that's why mainstream media will be trying to get their Black bootlicks out here to try to discredit many of the YouTubers who've had an inroads. What they're going to do is try to wage their campaign to discredit many of them by saying, oh, they don't have credentials from universities or say that they come from smaller schools. I know the campaigns that they try to do to discredit people, or they'll start talking about people's past because a lot of these guys like to dig up dirt, but we have to be able to continue persevering because this is not about them controlling the narrative. It's about B1 Black media controlling the narrative. And that's what's got all of these people scared. The fact that we are now controlling the narrative and they are not controlling the narrative anymore. And since they're not controlling the narrative, this is why they're upset because they can't sell us their soap and understand that that soap doesn't wash anymore.
Most absolutely. And before I get talking, I want to let people know that I am on. I've got two accounts tonight up. Now I'm on the Nice Radio Network one and Chris Radio. Now the Nice Radio Network is the studio YouTube channel. So I'm still the same guy. So I'm nice. For those who want to know, I'm Nice Radio Network, and I'm also Chris Radio. Okay, Chris Radio is my main channel. That is my main channel of all of the content that I put up on YouTube. All right. Thank goodness that some of my family is here helping me, and I finally got the YouTube. I finally got Chris Radio is the home of Chris and Company content. All right. Now, what I just put in the chat room from the on the Nice Radio Network side is that I've put these crackhead stories of what the griot and the root have been saying about us black men. All right. And the reason that that's important is because we black men are leaders in our homes. We are the providers. We are the ones that build. And if you tear down the foundation, then then the rest of the foundation, the house or whatever you're trying to build will crumble. All right. And so this is just proof of what I was just saying a few minutes ago about the griot being an anti-black cesspool, just like the root is, and they do not have the best interest of us black grassroots folks at heart. Um, I also want to go on to talk about uh, outing out some of these people that have platforms that that are going to attack us and call us Russian bots and all this other foolishness, and that we can't be afraid to call these people out. We can't. One thing I love about Professor Black Truth is that when he does his commentaries and he sees that black people are not on code or they're cooning and doing all that goofiness, he makes commentaries about them. And that's awesome, because guess what? We should be doing the same. Now, Sean, you do that. I will say that. And man, uh, you have really been instrumental in calling out some of the stuff that that needs to be said. You've and also you framed it in a way. You framed it in a way where it hurts us collectively as a people when bad behavior when bad behavior is rewarded, when bad behavior is when bad behavior is rewarded upward. And so yeah, you're very good at that. I don't like to talk about the celebrity part of news, because I think it bogs me down personally. That's something, like I say, I'll do on a Saturday night broadcast. But when you talk about those things, I listen in. I listen in very well. And I'm going to ask you this question, Sean. What if one of these goons, what if one of these coon goons come after you? What if if they say, well, there's a guy named Sean James and he talks about blah 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 blah. Do you have a like? Do you know how you're going to handle that?
Well, I know how to handle it because I recently had to handle it with this comic guy, Eric July, who went over to Twitter to say that I was some sort of concern troll, tried to minimize and dismiss me when I caught him on his off code behavior for taking a picture with Kyle Rittenhouse. Now, Eric July is a big deal with these far right types as related to the whole issue of comics. And this guy basically was a black bootlick and came out openly to say that he was a black bootlick by saying he was out here. He took this picture with Kyle Rittenhouse a year ago and
Oh
basically
wow!
went along with that picture. And I just called the guy out because he's a black bootlick and let everybody know on New Black Media what we need to do regarding this kind of individual, because we need to get on code with these off code individuals. Now, he wanted to dismiss and say he didn't know what off code behavior was, but everybody for generations knows what off code behavior is. And when you're taking pictures with people who are a part of white supremacy, because that's what I believe Kyle Rittenhouse was, because he took support from those on the far right with white supremacy.
Mhm.
And And for him to sit there and take a picture with this guy, that was completely off code. And
Right.
I know how to deal with people who want to try to challenge your credibility. I've been dealing with this for years. And the whole thing is you have to stand your ground and stand your resolve, like I did in 2019 with the whole passport debacle. And I stood my ground because, again, I want to empower Black people against anti Black narratives or narratives that can be weaponized against us. And I know from my experience of 25 years of studying the entertainment industry, how narratives can be created. And I also know how platforms like The Root and all these other platforms, these are not Black platforms at all. No, I can come out here with the information to let people know, as related to them, that they are just a part of the big six media oligarchy that was created due to the Telecom Act of 1996. These are platforms that have Black faces up front, but they have whites behind them running the show.
Mhm.
So I know how to deal with that whole situation, and I've been dealing with these kind of situations for many years. And the whole thing is the truth, and the whole thing is you can't break the truth when it comes to facts. And that's where B1 New Black Media has the advantage. We can go out here and present the truth regarding the facts, and the
Mhm.
facts are in front of us. I mean, I can just show you guys how the mainstream media basically knows the facts as regarding the media. I mean, I'm going to show you a picture of this article. It says Biden rips the media for economy coverage. Start reporting it the right way. And again, what they're going to do with the legacy media is try to say, oh, these people don't report things, right? They don't report the sources, right? Because they're saying that we're not credible, but we're saying that they're in their own reality. Because if you're saying report it the right way, that means you're not living in the real world and you're not living in reality. And again, we
Right.
in New Black Media present the truth. We present the truth to everyone to let everybody know what the facts are. And that's what I know as being a part of New Black Media for over, I say, about the last 15 years. I mean, I started with publishing and then moved to blogs and then moved to YouTube because I want to present positive images and positive stories and actual stories of Black life. And
Mhm.
I know that these people come after you. I've had feminists come after me with the ISIS series. I've had them come after me about books like The Temptation of John Haynes.
Oh
So
my
I know
gosh.
that you've got to keep standing because people who want the truth are going to get the truth. And you got to stand with those people to keep the truth out there.
Exactly. And that's why I build my own website. Building my own website and retooling my studio before I came back on the air, because I just refuse to tolerate or deal with that. And so, if anybody wants to listen to me, I'm going to put my website in the chat right now. And you know, I love the fact that I did build the website from the ground up, and because I didn't want to. Hell, let's just take away me doing a broadcast, right? Just being on Facebook and Twitter and just tweeting something similar. And the next thing you know, you log back on and you're violating some community standards. And you're like, what the hell? Seriously? That was just a tweet. So why would I put together a media apparatus and then trust it on a platform like YouTube? I wouldn't. And I don't. And so I know, because the way I talk and how I talk, I'm going to need a, a media apparatus where I can broadcast on my very own website and get people that are, B1 Black listeners from YouTube, from Twitter, from Facebook to come over to a real Black owned operated digital media website and can hear me speak the way the reality is happening. See, there are gonna be people saying, "Man, that Mr. Chris, man, he's he speaks too strong, and he uses a cuss word or two or five." But guess what? The situation that we're in may need that. I may need to say certain cuss words so to get through to people that we're dealing with some very serious shit out here. It's in all aspects of media, not just here in digital media, print media, TV and movie media, radio media. There's a movie that's coming out next year, Sean, called Civil War. Now, what would possess anyone, any type of movie maker that would want to even portray something as such as that in this day and age? Okay, and what type of message does that bring when you have a movie like that on screen that can influence people? Like what we say, we're talking to like-minded people. But you got a inherently evil media apparatus as the mainstream, as I call them, the mayonnaise maggot mainstream mafia media, that is allowing shit like that movie coming out next year, in next April. And they're already, I mean, we're in late December going into January, and they're already promoting and sending out trailers of that movie right now. And then along with Trump's crazy following, the MAGA maggots and those guys, you tend to wonder, you tend to wonder if all of this is not put together by design. Because if we are the problem, if our words from the B1 new black media is the problem, oh my, then it is up to us to call out media that is anti-black grassroots, anything that is a direct threat to decent, law-abiding black men and women who are just trying to get and accomplish their goals without racism being in their goddamn way. I think that's, and so I think what we're doing is very, very important. And then, yes, we do have to sort and sift out the propaganda, just like this, like the two crack-headed puff pieces that I put in the chat. The straight black men are the white people of black people. Oh my God! I mean, and the fact that somebody would put that out there, straight white people of black people, what? Like black men, what type of privilege does black men have? I'll wait.
That's the same type of anti-black narrative they've been pushing for years. I mean, they pushed it with the movie The Color Purple, which what Alice Walker was trying to do. Oh, black men are just like white men oppressing black women. But I looked at it, I go, how can a black man oppress you when he has no control over politics? He has no laws that he can go out here and enforce. And what they want to do is push these narratives on these platforms and polarize people, because that's what that Civil War movie is all about. Now, during the COVID pandemic, I had said to myself that things are getting so polarized as related to people that we have these conditions for a civil war. And what they want to do is create that rhetoric and then put an anti-black narrative around it to make us the scapegoat for everything, because everything that is related to the far right is them upset about Barack Obama being president of the United States. Now, Barack Obama did nothing for black people, but they're upset that their smooth world was disrupted as related to white supremacy. And the whole idea of a black man having that kind of power is what upset them. But they don't really understand that these white supremacists, again, they have their black tools that they have out here. And these tools are are just here to just do their dirty work. They're sitting up there thinking that, oh, he's for black people. It's like, no, he doesn't care about
No,
black people.
let's talk about empty suit Barry Osorto Obama real quick. Obama Obama created Trump because a lot of white people voted for Obama because they thought, just like we thought, that this guy was going to bring in sweeping changes and work directly for the people. And when Baraka, he might as well be Baraka from Mortal Kombat. But when Barack did that, those white people who voted for Barack Obama turned around and voted for Trump. They really wanted to vote for Bernie Sanders. But then Bernie Sanders just allowed Hillary Clinton to be a doormat to him. And all those voters went to Trump. And now and then the majority of them, they're pretty much extremist, MAGA, and make America great again and all that. And yeah, that's exactly what Barack Obama did. And now, wait a minute. You would think that with Biden's numbers are so low that hey, you got to protect my legacy. There's not a white America. There's not a black America. There's only the United States of America. You would think he would be out there stumping for Biden, making those spectacular shit speeches. But he's not saying nothing because he knows that his reputation has been tarnished because he was nothing more than an empty suit that was a bitch for the corporations. And that's all he was. He was a corporate Manchurian candidate of a president that basically used his skin color to get him in. But he still carried on the agenda that they were looking, that the 1% was looking for. And now he has more money than God, and yet if he sticks his nose out for Biden, he's going to get booed and hissed because he know that he didn't do nothing, not only for us, but the white people who voted for him back in 2008, and they won't let him forget that.
Yep. And that's why he's a lightning rod, and basically he's a liability for the Blue Party, because they thought they could bring him out here to make speeches, but people are just tired of hearing his glib words because he never did anything for anyone. He basically was just there to be an empty suit, just be a puppet. And that's what's got so many people upset and polarized, because they looked at this guy who was supposed to bring hope and change, and all he did was keep things the same way. Now, David Carroll tried to warn us about him, but nobody wanted to listen to him until later on. But this guy did nothing for anyone. And that's what's got members of the Blue Party scared. They know that they have no results to show anyone. And what they want to do is blame black people and say, oh, the black people are the reason why this is messed up. No, it wasn't the black people who messed things up. It was this guy. He was a tool. And the whole thing is, this tool didn't really work the way that the white folks wanted. He didn't work the way they wanted. And he basically shattered their reality as related to those on the left, as related to their perception of, oh, their so-called equal world. And he didn't usher in things for Hillary to preserve her legacy, because she basically was out here thinking, oh, she could take everything for granted. And she was arrogant enough to believe that, oh, she could run on him, on his agenda, on his legacy. But his legacy was basically the thing that created Donald Trump, because you didn't deliver the goods. And since you didn't deliver the goods, what happened was people got frustrated with them. And the disconnect is the problem I see with the Blue Party that's got them upset. They are so disconnected and detached from reality. That's why I posted that article up. Start reporting it, right? It's like, how can you report it right when the reality is most Americans are struggling due to inflation? Most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Most Americans are struggling as related to their money, but you don't want to live in the reality that people are dealing with. No, the blue party basically wants to live in its own world. The same thing with the red party. They're living in their own world. And this detachment is the problem. But nobody wants to deal with that except new black media. We can see the disconnect, we can see the detachment and the disconnection from reality of the left and the right from the people. And this disconnect is something nobody wants to talk about outside of new black media.
Absolutely not. That's too much like right. And you're absolutely right. What they've done and what they continue to do, talking about the mainstream mayonnaise maggot mafia media, is that they also creating buffers between us talking to the masses of people that are on the World Wide Web. So they bring out the crackhead. I call them the crackhead group. And guys, people like Candace Owens. I'm gonna keep harping on her because she's the worst of the worst. She really is. Like Jason Whitlock and Marcellus Wiley, Boyce Watkins, Tiffany Cross, Jamel Hill, Ebony K. Williams. These troglodytes are always the criminals that are talking against us. And whether they're talking about us by trying to shame our manhood or shame our relevance, or talking about you've got to get along with with the today's society, blah blah blah, anything, or like what Tiffany Cross said about falling in line. A lot of those code words from these coon clowns are going to be rampant next year, and I'm not having it. One of your, I got to give a shout out to, let's see, excuse me. Let's see here. I forgot her name. Is it Jawan? Yeah,
His
I
name
think it
is
was
Juwan.
Jawan said Jawan said time to be unapologetic and unfiltered in 2024. Well, Jawan, if that's what you're looking for, then the Chris and Company radio show on www.niceradionetwork.com is for you. And because I don't hold nothing back because I don't have to. And yes, I love the fact that sometimes, Sean, you will boom, you'll say something unexpected. I'm like, oh, Sean, I wouldn't expect for you to say that. But it needs it. Because once again, the mayonnaise mainstream maggot mafia media has these coon bootlicks hiring them to speak against us. And not only we've got that front to worry about, we've got the digital clowns. Excuse me. I already talked about the frogs that's on digital. But we got the mainstream ones. The mainstream media ones. I didn't bring up Warren Williams or Larry Elder or Stacey Dash or Kamal Bell. These are people that totally speak against our black interests. And here's one thing that all of these punk ass bitches got in common. None of them ever talk about reparations for black folks. None of them ever talk about an anti-black hate crime bill. And a lot of these people spend their time going after Bill Cosby or R. Kelly or Jonathan Majors. Things that have absolutely, positively nothing to do with the black grassroots community that wants reparations. Why? Why are we talking like this? Because black people are sick and tired of being sick and tired of being broke. We want the economic floor that is owed to us. Owed to us. And this economy is making it hard. Not just you, Sean, but me too. Me and my sweetie poo, we can't even go look for a house because the interest rates are too goddamn high. So we've got to sit on our money and wait for the interest rates to fall at an affordable level so that we're not losing our shirt to have a house. Now, why should we go through this? If we have reparations, if there's a reparations bill, and listen here, man. Even if reparations money was to fall in my lap, I would still put it to good use. I would put it to work and apply it to things where I can not only set myself up very comfortably, but things where I can help my son build his own business. Maybe I help my nephew build his own business. We work together, come together and start a business together, right? But no, we don't, abortion stuff. Are you kidding me? The average black person doesn't walk around talking about we need to fix abortion. Kamala Harris just went on some retarded tour talking about the abortion tour. Abortion, people want money in their pockets. People want the police to stop harassing us. That's what we want. And yet, still, time after time after time after time, going against our best interest, then has the nerve to want us to vote for them for nothing. And then when B1 black content creators like you and I call out their bullshit, then they'll sick their mainstream. When I say they, I'm talking about Kamala and Biden's people will get on the phone with the mainstream media, and then the mainstream media will get their black attack dogs to attack us, and then blame us for what our governmental representative should have been doing for us in the first place, instead of sitting around doing nothing and giving us Juneteenth. As it's like that's going to move you and I to vote for those morons. You can't make this stuff up.
Yeah, what they want to do is run a campaign to, I believe, one, discredit, and then two, distract. And that's why they have their black buffers go out here and focus mostly on entertainment, because they know a lot of black folks, as I said in my novel Spellbound, they want to fit into the black box that's acceptable to white people. And what they want to do is focus on these entertainers, but these entertainers really aren't focused on getting us tangibles. This is all about distracting people from what the real things we need to focus on. Now, when that doesn't work, what they do is go out here and try to further distract by, again, using the black bootlets to focus on entertainment. And as they use them to focus on entertainment, they distract us on political discussions. And then they want to go out here and try to discredit black people who are a part of B1 New Black Media from focusing on agendas. And when they go out here and use those people, they again want to deflect by talking about some celebrity or somebody who already, in most cases, these are other bootlicks and shills, because again, this is the buffers. Again, they want to keep you from focusing on important things. So they use them. And if they can't get through, what they do is bring in the white reporters, and then they use the white reporters to try to, again, spellbind black people and say, oh, those black people don't know what they're talking about. But this is why we got to stay focused. We got to stay focused because what we are needing are our tangibles, and our tangibles would basically benefit the economy better than what they would get from the migrants or illegals. Because when we have our tangibles, you're going to see two things. One, you're going to see Black people having the money and the power to go out here and build wealth, and them and brothers and sisters building wealth. What that does is create something that this country desperately needs, and that's competition. And that's the thing that white supremacy overall is afraid of, is Black competition. And I've said this in many videos and live streams. They're afraid of Black competition because they're afraid of us dominating economically the same way Michael Jordan basically dominated sports. And they're afraid that if Black people get economic power, what we will do is start creating and building businesses that will basically be better than theirs, because their businesses primarily make most of their money based on the system of white supremacy and white privilege, and them getting, like Professor Black Truth says, the goodies, giveaways, and other things. They make their money by maintaining that system, but in a directly competitive system. This is what they don't want. And that's why they don't want to give Black people the reparations, because many of us, we were denied those opportunities to be able to compete. I mean, I myself, again, I graduated with a degree in business at the top of my class, but I never was able to get that full time job for the last 25 years where I could build a life. And that's where reparations would benefit me, because I suffered from all of that past and ongoing discrimination that kept me out of the job market. And I've been building my own thing right now on my own. And that
Mhm.
reparations money is thought I would use it for is to further build the SJS Direct imprint, be able to do things like comic books as related to Kickstarters, be able to finally buy a home possibly, and finally be able to go out here and build a better life. There's a lot of things that I could use that kind of money for. And we've been denying Black people the ability to be able to live a life that everybody else has lived. I mean, we have $3.3 trillion in spending power, but 97% of our money goes to other people to create middle class lifestyles for whites and non Blacks. And that black dollar needs to be put in the hands of Black people. I mean, we pay taxes, but we don't get any service for our community. Everybody else, they get tangibles. I mean, I'm looking at here in New York, Eric Adams wants to give migrants everything, but doesn't want to give the Black voters anything. No, he let Black people lose their jobs due to his jab mandate. And he wants to give migrants our tax dollars. Again, disrespect directed at Black people. But we're supposed to be sitting here and say, "Oh, we just want to keep voting for this blue party." And that's what's got many of these people in the blue party upset. They don't like the idea that new Black media is changing the narrative, and they can't get away with the tricks that they pull with their bootlicks, who we have now been revealed to be shills, and they can't push these buffers to get in front and form a line where they can go out here and gaslight people. They can't use these buffers anymore. They can't get us to get to toe lines on narratives like abortion, because guys like David Carroll basically shattered that entire thing by
Mhm.
showing you things as related to that narrative. And then you have bootlicks like Cynthia G, who went out here and basically showed how bad abortion has been exploited as a narrative. And again, the problem with abortion, as I saw it always, was it's always about choice. And again, it's the choice to have this casual sex or not have this casual sex. And that's the choice you need to think about before you get involved with a man who would possibly be the father of your children. Don't want to talk about that part. They just want to get people emotional. They want to get people emotional and polarized, but we've got to stay focused, because these distractions are not tangibles that we need. Again, that anti Black hate crime law would have an impact, because it's Black people who primarily are the ones who are the attacked by these racists and these race soldiers and these Karens. And this would put a line in the sand, let these people know where they have to stop, and let them know that we are going to take our respect. That's what they don't want as related to the anti Black hate crime bill, which would have a stronger impact than that Asian hate crime bill, because all of that stuff with the Asian hate crime bill is just a smoke screen. I mean, it's a smoke screen because we know that there wasn't really the attacks on Asians like there was Black people. So what they want to do is go out here and try to distract us. But again, we got to stay focused and on point.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely got to stay focused and on point. That's why we're here doing this broadcast. Whether one person's listening to us or 10,000 people listening to us, it's very important that we let people know that there is a war against the digital B1 new black media, and we're here, and I'm ready. I want to read a comment from Computer Robots. He says, and you know that what the thing is, Sean and Mr. Chris, is that the Democratic Party has been pumped and dumped by other groups. That is the most hilarious part. Don't feel sorry for the Democratic Party. No, hell no, Computer Robots. We don't feel sorry for the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party has taken the black vote for granted. And because they've taken the black vote for granted, they have used black people, the voters that voted for them, to run their agendas, their personal agendas, not the agendas for the people, their personal agendas. And so no more of that bullshit. No more of that. Another thing about agendas that I'm going to discuss. I'm sick and I'm tired of hearing about Taraji P. Henson crying and boo-hooing and flu-fluing about being broke. Taraji, you brought that on yourself. You want to know why? Because you are an actress. And actors and actresses in Hollywood, whether they're B, C, D-list actors, make a substantial amount of money more than the average working black man or woman, for that matter. And if you don't like the fact what you got paid for playing in that minstrel musical called The Color Purple, all right, then you should have brought that up and negotiated your pay before you acted one day on a set. Now, while she's crying, she got pretty nails. She has brand new eyelashes that are plucked in her big ass eyes. Look like a nice fresh weave put in her hair. Now, instead of doing all of that, Taraji, what you should have done is what I've done, is that I've taken the time to build my own website from the ground up. Then I went and put together my casings that I paid for, and I purchased the equipment that will be able to solidify me broadcasting on the Nice Radio Network. And so now every single radio broadcast that I do is going to be on www.niceradionetwork.com. Let's see here, Taraji. Wouldn't TarajiHenson.com would have been nice? And then you have your own movie studio. And then you can create your own content. I know it's hard work, but cry and stick your hand out to Oprah, of all people. Oprah. And what is Oprah? You think Oprah is going to put an extra check in your hand because you cried on somebody else's podcast over it? And this is the news. This is what the news is having us look at on all of these platforms, and look at this garbage on yahoo.com. I don't want to see that shit. Get off your black ass and build your own movie studio. Because guess what? You can't have your hand out to the white man and then be crying about being broke. You're either going to be broke or you're going to build your own platform, Taraji.
Well, I have to agree with you on that. I mean, the critical question I asked as related to Taraji, as related to her complaining, is why didn't you go out here and start working on building your own? I mean, you sit here and complain about oh, they're underpaying me. Now, I wrote all about Maryland back in 2009. I did research on this in 2007. This has been an issue that's been going on for decades as related to Black actresses. And you would think if she wanted to get the kind of roles that she wanted, she would go out here and create them herself. I mean, I know that movies cost money, but you can go out here and make a money movie for a really low budget because a lot of Christian production companies, they do it for under $1 million. They rent the cameras, they get the equipment, they hire the actors and the actresses to star in the films. Moreover, they go out here and find the scripts and pay the screenwriters. I mean, they go out here and do the work to get their own material because Hollywood has never been interested in elevating Black women, and they've never really been concerned about hiring Black women for their roles because their job is to be the media arm of white supremacy. And as the media arm of white supremacy, their job is to go out here and elevate white women as the ideal. But you got Taraji who's sitting up here thinking playing hood rats is going to get her some sort of fame. And I looked at Taraji's whole career and I looked at her. She said she had to fire her team, but her plans for business were absolutely ridiculous. This is why I laughed in a video a couple of days ago because she's sitting up here thinking Cookie can be spinned off into a TV show.
Are you
Uh,
serious?
this is what she thought. Oh, Fox was supposed to give her a deal to go out here and make a cookie show. Again, a character on a show that, if you know the business of entertainment, I mean, Empire's ratings, I looked at Empire's ratings, I did the research. This show was dropping in the ratings. Nobody's going to spin off a show that's dropping in the ratings. I mean, when Cosby came out with the Cosby Show, they spun off a different world because he was getting 20 million viewers for the Cosby Show. They spin off shows that are hits. They don't spin off a show that's canceled. I mean, it shows that she knows nothing about the business of entertainment and doesn't know that the best material is the one you go out here and find. I wrote this in All About Maryland, too, where I talked about how the Maryland character was trying to get her own, find a screenplay from a brother to go out here and work with to get that film made. I mean, you got to go out here and get your own material. But she's sitting up here thinking, Cookie, again, a show owned by Lee Daniels, she's going to get a spin off show. So it shows me she wasn't looking to invest in Black people. I mean, as somebody who, again, has his own publishing company, I
What?
look to invest in Black people, whether it be hiring the artists for the covers or going out here and either doing some other work out here, like writing my stories. I'm looking to build my own platform because I understand I can't do it on mainstream platforms. If you want to do something balanced and shows Black people as we are, we got to do it ourselves. But you got Taraji sitting up here talking about, oh, they don't
Sean,
pay me.
Sean,
It's just hilarious.
exactly. Sean, can you imagine? Just close your eyes for 5 seconds and just imagine if a Black male actor said that. Could you imagine if a Black male actor was crying on somebody's show talking about the lack of pay he was getting in movies? The entire modern woman gynocentric uh, uh, contingent on social media would drill his ass. They would have ran him through the mud, Sean.
Yep. They would have humiliated him. I mean, they would
They
have got
would
a
have
field day.
they would have humiliated the sisterhood, the gynocentric sisterhood would have raked that guy over the coals. All right, big time. So I don't want to hear this mess about Black women victimhood because it's nothing more than a gender warring front to say that Black men like you and me and Professor Black Truth are the enemy and
Yeah.
that we don't like Black women.
It's a divide and conquer tactic. When I have to ask the
Exactly.
question, why didn't Taraji go out here and look to help out other Black people? I mean, that's the critical question I gotta ask.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. Because she can't help herself. How is she gonna help other black people if she can't help herself? If she's crying, talking about how broke she is, clearly she can't help herself. Clearly she's barely able to take care of home. When you can't take care of home, you can't do shit for nobody. What
Yep.
have I always said, Sean? I said, the day that I can't pay my rent or I can't take care of my house, that's the day I can't do Chris and Company, because my priorities of taking care of home are paramount. That is me being a black man in America that gives no goddamn excuses to me and none to you as well.
Yep. Because if you can't take care of your business, and again, I know the entertainment business, I know you have expenses, but the whole thing is she has no leadership and no plan. But women can't really lead because that's not what God made them to do. And that's why she's running on emotion, talking about how she's broke. But anybody who's smart about the business understands, okay, if I want to get the range and get the shows that show my range, I'm going to go and find some screenwriters and find that material. But she didn't want to do that. No, she was expecting the studio to do things. And as she expected the studio to do things, they used her to create a distraction. And again, that distraction was meant to get us off the focus of what's coming in 2024, because that's what they use celebrities for. They use them to distract us and divert our attention from more important things as related to a black agenda.
Exactly, like the color coon, excuse me, the color purple, to further a gender war, to further a gender war agenda for today's generation. And 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 Sean, I want I know you're gonna do it, but I want to know the numbers to this color purple movie crackhead BS when the numbers come out.
Well, they're
Because
saying it opened at 18 million for Christmas Day, but if this film cost as much as I believe it's costing, I believe this film probably cost $100 million or so. They're trying to sell it as a hit, and again, what the mainstream media loves to do is sell you the narrative. Oh, this film's a hit because it opened at 18 million on Christmas Day, but they said Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom opened with a $40 million opening, and that was a flop. So it's looking to me like this film was a flop. But what they want to do is gaslight the black masses into buying into the narrative that this film was a hit. And that's something you got to really be able to take a critical look at. Because if Aquaman was a flop and it cost $200 million and it opened at 40 million, and Color Purple opens at 18 million on Christmas Day, and it's a film that possibly costs $100 million, isn't that a flop too? But what they want to do is sell black people and gaslight us into thinking this film was doing well, but this film wasn't doing well at all. I think this film bombed, and it's bombing because of new black media calling out this film as related to it being an agenda for the gender war. Because what they want to do is program a new generation of black girls and young women into believing the black man is the enemy with the super brute mister. And this whole film, again, another distraction that we have to understand that we need to walk away from, because they know what's coming in 2024 is an election, and they want to divide and conquer us to get control of the narrative. But that's where new black media comes in controlling the narrative to keep mainstream media from being able to control the narrative of black people.
you said that the movie cost $100 million to make.
Probably because if you're doing big sets like that and big productions like that, these films they cost a lot of money. If they release it on Christmas Day, then it definitely possibly cost $100 million.
If it cost $100 million, they didn't make their money. There's no
No,
way.
no,
There's not that many people remotely interested in watching that movie, maybe except for some of my ex-girlfriends and single women who are modern women that think that they don't need a man anyway. No, they're the only ones, women who've got a dog and cat at home because no real man wants to put up with them.
yep, that's the only people who would watch that movie. I mean, these feminist indoctrinated black women who are bitter because they don't have a man or they messed up their relationship. They love this garbage like The Color Purple. because it validates their ideas. I mean, this is all programming that comes from Oprah Winfrey, who was one of the executive producers. That's why I say it cost over $100 million, because you got Steven Spielberg and Oprah Winfrey involved. You got big musical numbers, big sets, a period film. This film cost a lot of money. And what they want to do, again, is tell you it's a hit, because this is all part of the gaslighting campaign that they do. I mean, they did this with other movies. They tried to do it with the Marvels a while back, saying, oh, it was the biggest box office for a black director. But you got to look past the words and see the nonsense. And this whole film basically was a flop, because there were Tyler Perry movies that did better than this. I mean, Tyler Perry movies would open at 20, 25 million a couple of years ago. This film's opening at 18 on Christmas Day. Yeah, it was a big opening for Christmas Day, but I do remember other movies opening up bigger than this. So I'm looking at this and I can see what they're trying to do: divert and distract, and again, play the mind games to gaslight you into believing something is true when it's not. That's a major hallmark of the Blue Party and the Biden presidency, is trying to gaslight people into believing lies or truth. That's what he's trying to do with the economy. And that's why his approval rating has dropped, because people see a different thing on the streets. They see a different thing at the supermarket. And you can't deny reality. But that's why they want to, again, silence new black media, because new black media is reporting on the realities that's going on in the black community and seeing past the lies and the distractions that they're trying to present.
Oh, absolutely. This is what we're talking about. People, understand that when we're talking like this, we're not just talking about the Roland Martins and those guys. We're talking about all forms of media that disrespect us black men. And when they disrespect us black men, they're disrespecting the black woman too. It's just in a different way. So the books, let's talk about the books that disrespect black men. Waiting to Exhale, along with The Color Purple, the book. Nothing but misandry all over the place. And yet, what happened to those movies? I'll tell you what happened to those movies. Those movies ended up being, those books ended up turning into movies. White money backed those smut books. All right. Now, I've already talked about the journalism media, so-called, from the Griot and the Root, and those two stories disrespecting black men, even though they claim that they are they report the news like I report the news on Chris and Company, or you, or like you, Sean, and we all know that's a goddamn lie.
Yep.
All right. So this, I don't want people to think that you and I are just focusing only on the usual suspects that talk about us B1 new black media content creators. No. We've been getting a steady barrage of black male disrespect from shows like Rolanda. We already know about Oprah. Shows like The Raw, The Real. What else? Other Jerry Springer, Maury. Here's the thing about Maury that I'm telling you, I do not understand for the life of me. He would allow this chick to come on to his show, cuss out, denigrate the guy, talking about he needs to be a man and step up and be a father to this child. Then it turns out he's not the father of the child. And then Maury would turn around and tell the guy that he needs to chill out. Are you fucking kidding me? This white man has the audacity to tell a man, a lot of them brothers, that they need to chill out if it turns out that the DNA test goes against them. I mean, goes against them not being the father. Are you serious? And so now now we're attacking all of that. And I'll bring it up again. There's, before you say, well, you know, Kevin Samuels was doing it. God damn it. I was doing all this and I was saying this stuff way before Kevin Samuels ever even came onto the scene. I've been doing this for over 16 years. I'm not even counting my internship. So that's what I'm saying. I've been saying it. The problem was, when I first started out doing this, there weren't nobody else talking like I was talking. And then as time went on, there were more broadcasters, black broadcasters like myself, speaking out about white supremacy. Now, we didn't call it that back then, okay? But we were saying things similar to it. I remember Jason Black when he first was on Blog Talk Radio, and he was doing his broadcast there. He don't know me, I don't know him, but I remember him. I remember because I would listen. Then he transitioned over to YouTube, and you know, the rest is history. But yeah, absolutely. The reason that we're doing part 2 of this is because we're focused on all the media, controlling our images, controlling the narrative, controlling what black folks think of themselves, talking about what the mayonnaise mainstream media won't say when it comes to black people like us and the things that they're doing, how it directly affects us in a way that not only the mayonnaise mainstream maggot media is not going to talk about, their mainstream media black bootlicks on the chitlin circuit, they're not going to talk about it because they still want their jobs. And then clearly the Candace Owenses and the Roland Martins and Marcellus Wileys and those goofballs, they're not going to say anything either because they got their hand out to White Zaddy to put money in their hands to put money in their hands so they can get a cozy weekend TV job.
Yep. And what they want to do is continue that control over the media they've had over black media for 30 plus years. I mean, they have had complete control for years, and they've created these anti-black misandrous narratives against black men, like The Color Purple, which was, again, a book created by Alice Walker, a black feminist who was married to a white man at the time, and wanted to produce these anti-black narratives on their platforms and try to undermine guys like Bill Cosby, who was trying to get a narrative to show us the best about ourselves. I mean, when you look at black men like Bill Cosby and Robert Townsend and the Hudlin, but they were trying to present you balanced pictures of black people, human pictures of black people, whereas these people who were a part of the mainstream media, they were pushing anti-black man narratives. Again, like you said, they don't want to see a black man in a leadership role. They don't want to see a black man in a power position. So they go out here and look to sow division by weaponizing these anti-black man narratives of the no good black man, of the lazy black man, of the incompetent black man. And they were able to do that from the mid 80s after they saw Bill Cosby's impact overall to the 90s with these talk shows and these hood movies and all this other stuff and books like Waiting to Exhale. Waiting to Exhale, that's where they created the narrative of, oh, there's no good black men out here. A narrative that was a lie because there were good brothers out here for years. But a lot of these sisters wanted to get involved with the Pookies and the Ray Rays or be the side piece. And Terry McMillan's own novel basically convicted her. So Terry McMillan's own book basically convicted her. Oh, there's no good black men out here. Ran this narrative.
Man, let me tell you something about that. Let me tell you something about that degenerate bitch, Terry McMillan, and I hope she's rotten in whatever fucking cess hell she's in. She turned around, not only made books to denigrate and disrespect black men, she also had the audacity to put her ex-husband in her one of her books and disrespected and desecrated him. Only
Disappearing Acts. I read that one.
Right. And also when Stella Got Her Groove Back,
Yeah.
also put him in that one too. Now, I'm telling you right now, nothing makes me happy when it comes to absolute karma. And this one is nothing but irony wrapped in a metaphor, laced with poetic justice. So Terry McMillan, that scum, that piece of crap, she found out that the Cabana boy that she was messing with, that she married from Jamaica, was gay. And then, and I guess she caught him in a, in a gay encounter or something like that. Anyway, she had the nerve. She went to Oprah, and the gay husband and Terry McMillan went on to Oprah's show. And then Oprah, they were supposed to work it out. Oh, no. Oprah turned around and then chastised the husband, and then used her entire platform as an axe to grind against this guy. So, yeah, payback's a bitch.
And the critical question is, who picked this dude?
Huh? Who picked the dude?
That's what I'm saying to Terry McMillan. You picked him.
Yeah. Exactly. And just like today's modern woman, instead of her understanding the reality of her situation, no. That requires accountability. Well, let me go to my girl Oprah, and then my girl Oprah is going to have my back, and then she's going to chastise my gay soon-to-be ex-husband for me.
That's what she was hoping to do, emasculate him on the air.
And she did. And Oprah did a great, fantastic job. And then what happened to Terry McMillan? She died. And she died alone, just like Kevin Samuels say women like her end up doing, dying alone. And guess what? I'm like Stevie Wonder. I don't see the problem. It sucks to be her, and it's fantastic to be Mr. Chris. Anyway, enough about me though. That's the truth. And imagine, she made money. She made money off denigrating and disrespecting black men to the point where there's white people out there that think, okay, well, if they do it to each other, then I guess it's okay for me to do it.
Well, that was big business in the 90s. I mean, I was trying to break into the publishing industry since 1998 or so, but it became a big business for these books of these single, successful, well-educated black women who can't find a man. I mean, these books were big money for white publishers because the white females, they loved doing these books because it was, again, another distraction to divide and conquer us. We didn't see the propaganda in these books. And I ran into this when I was trying to submit books to publishers. And I was wondering, why do I keep getting rejected? I got good stories with this John Haynes character, and I realized that they don't want that kind of story from a heterosexual black man who presents an image of black manhood and black masculinity that's positive. 2, they don't want a black man to be out here showing that he's an author on the same level as these black, so-called educated black women. And 3, they don't want a counter narrative to their demonizing black men narrative that these publishers have presented. Now, the movie American Fiction is finally showing the racism that goes on with the publishing industry. as related to pushing these anti-Black narratives. And we're finally starting to see some truth regarding it. And that's what's happening now. But I was the guy out here for many years pushing SJS Direct books, showing characters like John Haynes out here to show you images of Black manhood and Black masculinity. I even put it in many of my early books, like A Recipe for Success and All About Maryland. And the whole thing is that I put those books out there, but nobody wanted to pick them up. And again, they don't want to pick them up because mainstream Black media is anti-Black, man. And uh, Terry McMillan is alive. I looked on Google. She's bitter. She's basically dead at this point, as related to her career. I mean, her career is dead at this point because she cannot. She's fallen off so badly after Stella. Her whole career went into a decline, and she's a horrible writer at this point. People don't buy her books anymore, and she can't push these narratives
I literally
anymore.
thought I really saw a story that she was dead.
Well, I did a Google search, and yeah, she's alive. But the whole thing is, she's not living very well because people don't buy her books anymore. She's irrelevant at this point as a writer.
Okay, my bad. I thought she was dead because I saw an article years ago stating that she was dead.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've seen her on Twitter here and there, but she's fallen off as a writer. I mean, she just fell off. Her skills are done at this point. I mean,
Okay, so if she's not dead, she might as well be dead. All
Yeah.
right, walking dead. All right.
She's got this novel. The last one she did was It's Not All Downhill from Here, and she has fallen off badly as a writer. People do not see her as quality anymore. They see her as the same way they see the Blue Party, as detached and disconnected, and not really able to write good stories anymore because she doesn't really write about Black people.
But isn't it funny how what ends up happening to these people who bootlick and kiss the ass of white mainstream zaddy, only for them to be discarded and thrown away like trash?
Well, that's why bootlick is a job without a retirement plan.
And then Stephen A. Smith, right? You know, he was talking about he might leave ESPN after his contract is up. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. But the fact of the matter is that here's a punter, a former punter in the NFL, and he's been doing a podcast maybe half the time that Stephen A. has been doing print media and TV media combined, right? He is making more money than Stephen A. Smith. And all of that bootlicking, grabbing the ankles and getting bent over by Jerry Jones and liking it, only for a punter who has a podcast make more money than him. It is hilarious. All of that cooning and buffooning that he does, and yet ESPN still doesn't make him the highest paid guy there. I love it. I love it. When are these guys going to learn? Taraji P. Henson, when are you guys going to learn? Get your own shit, because the white people who cut you a check only look at you as nothing but a brainless nigger. I said it. That's it.
Yeah.
You don't like it? Don't get mad at me. Build your own, then come see me.
They see you as a tool they can use to push their narratives, and that's all they want to do. And that's why they really don't want to see Black people in new Black media coming up. And that's one of the things they don't like about social media is the influence of Black people on social media on other Black people. I mean, we have an impact on people, and that's why everything is falling apart for these Blue Party folks as related to 2024. And that's why they possibly want to go after Black people who have platforms like YouTube and channels, because they don't want people to follow new Black media. What they want to do is be able to control the narrative. And they see that they can't control the narrative like they did with the whole thing, with the whole jab mandates. They tried to push that narrative, but there was so much pushback that it basically fell apart in front of them. So what they want to do, because they know, again, Joker Joe ain't doing well, is they're going to try to go after, again, new Black media, trying to go after channels, go after YouTubers and other people online. And that's why you got to have your own website or have websites out here of your own that you control, because what they want to do is they want to try to silence folks. And that's part of the campaign, because they know that B1 digital black media is starting to have an impact again on elections, something they never thought would happen. They thought we were just going to be out here, be entertainment, be able to sell consumer products, and make a little money with the gender war. But the whole thing is that it's going beyond the gender war, because, again, the guys who are a part of New Black Media, like Professor Black Truth and the late David Carroll and many others out here like Jason Black and you, are having an impact overall. I have to say, Mr. Superboy as well, having an impact. And that's changing the entire discourse of the nation as related to Black people and making us a serious force in media.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And once again, Sean, um, we have our parts to do to try to reach more people, to try to reach more like-minded people like us. And, and, you know, and that's going to, create and make change, right? So when that happens, yeah, there are going to be more eyeballs on you. And a lot of those eyeballs aren't going to be good guys. And so, we might as well draw the line in the sand right now and say, you know what? We are, we are about the B1 new black media, and we stand on people who look like us getting their fair due, getting their fair shake, getting and having an economic floor that has been stripped of us since the inception of this country. And so, yes, we're going to stand on that. And that's it, right? So it don't make no sense to poo-poo or around it and trying to appease everyone, because that's not gonna that you know that's no good. You got to make a stand, and you got to make a stand and make a decision on where you stand when it comes to us as a group of people. Now look, are there Black people I don't like? Yes, but and that's a big but. There are a lot of people who look like us that need help. And if we have the platforms to talk about these things, then this is what we should be doing. Because, Sean, think about a lot of Black folks that don't have a platform, that can't speak for themselves, that have no one to speak for them. There's a lot of Black people who want to speak like we can, but they can't, because they work 3 jobs. And they got to take shit from all of those 3 jobs and deal with 3 different types of bosses, working with God knows how many different type of idiot coworkers. And then you got somebody like Taraji P. Henson crying about the lack of pay she's getting, and she's a movie star. Insulting.
It is.
And so we have to do the work. We have to. Because guess what? There were people that helped me along the way. Yeah, I didn't get here by myself. Wishful thinking, right? But I didn't get here by myself. And I'm glad as an activist that I have this platform to say, hey, you're not the only ones out there. You're not alone. The frustration that you get when you got to work, when you work your day and you working with people who want to see you fall and see you fail, that yes, you can come onto my platform, you can come on to Sean James's platform, and you can listen to something that will at least motivate you. If nothing else, motivate you, put a smile on your face one way or another, and then live to fight another day.
Yep.
And that's the bottom line. That's what it comes down to. And so, and Sean, and by the way, when people come onto the website, I will have, it's not up yet, but I will have part one of Sean's commentary on the B1 Media versus the Coon Media on Nice Radio Network.
Awesome.
So that will be up next week, and definitely gonna put in a link for that. So, what is your prediction next year on what's going to be happening with B1 Media and its overall impact?
I believe B1 New Black Media is going to have a huge impact on things in 2024 because we're starting to see the inroads as related to them for the last, I say, about 12 years. But we're going to have a breakthrough with New Black Media having an influence on Black people. And that's the thing that's got a lot of these politicians and business people upset is that New Black Media is starting to have that impact and it's about to have the major breakthrough because the more they attack New Black Media, the more stronger they make it because it's showing that we are telling the truth. So I see next year as a breakthrough for New Black Media because people want facts. They want the real deal as related to information. And we're tired of hearing the bootlicks and shells tell us what they want us to hear. And New Black Media is going to be bringing that truth. And it's going to be getting a lot more eyeballs. But we're also going to have to deal with a lot of things like these flagging campaigns from these bootlicks and these shills. That's why we have to understand what's going on around here as related to the subtle politics transpiring around us. A lot of folks, they are not going to like what we're saying, and we're going to get it from all sides. We're going to get these bootlicks first trying to come out and trying to discredit New Black Media. Then we're going to get the white guys who are going to come on and try to make main stories about New Black Media. Then we're going to see a campaign to again go against Black people on social media to try to silence Black people. But the impact is just there and it's just going to make it stronger because New Black Media, as I see it, is on its way to the next level. And 2024 will be a big year for New Black Media.
When it comes to social media, are we looking at 2016 all over again?
Yeah, I
Where
think we are.
accounts are just going to, you know, you said the slightest little thing, and
They were banning accounts and giving people 7 days and 30 days and because they wanted their reality to be reality. They wanted their smooth world where they could hear their lies. And that's what we saw in 2020. People just trying to basically create their own reality, which is insanity when you think about it. And 2016 may be coming again, and it may be coming again. And we may be seeing a lot of leftists throwing tantrums all around.
tantrums. You mean tantrums?
Yeah,
Oh, big time. That's the point. They're going to be throwing tantrums, right? And then what they're going to be doing is that they're going to get the Chitlin circuit to come after us.
yeah. But they created their own mess because they don't live in reality. They live in their own world. It's like I talk about in the man crisis. The beta male lives in a rose-colored reality. Well, a lot of these leftists and these people on the far right, they live in their own rose-colored reality. They don't see the American people. They're detached, they're disconnected, they're living in their own world. They don't see real people and real struggles. They don't see how folks have been struggling ever since these pandemics as related to their money and the American screw job. I mean, American Rescue Plan basically screwing them over. I mean, they don't see the reality, and these people cannot handle the truth. And I see them having to deal with another 2016 because people are tired of the state of this union and they're tired of hearing lies from these big six corporations, which don't have the power like they used to anymore. Because with them taking $1 billion loss, I mean, Disney and all these studios took $1 billion losses. They don't have that influence anymore. And that's where New Black Media will be making the inroads as related to things.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And that's the thing. When Biden's approval rating hits, I'm gonna say I say 28%, right? They're going to give their marching orders to the Roland Martins and they're not Candace Owens. Want to know why? Because she's on the right. So, you know, she's more than likely are not going to say anything except for you black people who are voting for Biden. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Trust me, she's not our friend.
No, neither side is our friend.
But the marching orders from the mainstream black chitlin, I call them the chitlin circuit on the mainstream. So Joy Reid, Van Jones, sometimes Michael Eric Dummy, who else? Jonathan Capehart and Mark Lamont Hill. Those mainstream, I call them once again, I call them the chitlin circuit. They are going to start looking at us, and then once again, the usual suspects: Tiffany Cross, Roland Martin. Who else? Who else is on that talks like sometimes Boyce Watkins? You know, he in fact, the side note with that clown, he actually came at me at Twitter, and it was about a comment that it was about a man and woman, a woman disrespecting a man, and I made a comment, and then he talking about come see him. Seriously? Like inbox him or something. No, you inbox me.
That's
if you've got a problem with
behavior.
me, wait a minute. If you got a problem with me, then you come see me.
What they want to do is argue, shout you down in an argument.
But he wanted me to do, and think about this. This is how much of a retarded monkey he is. He wanted me to inbox him on something that he disagreed with me on. Sean, you can't make this idiocy up. Why would I come to you if you've got a problem with me in an inbox? Really?
Well, I've run into that. I ran into that sadly with Concrete Comics. They wanted to argue, and some of the passport guys, they wanted to argue, and you never do that at all. I mean, if you've made your point, you made your point, you move on. But what they want to do is argue you down, shout you down, and that's part of their plan. Oh, if I can't win, if I disagree with someone, I try to challenge them to come and engage me, and then as I engage them, then I can try to shout them down. But that's not how men operate. That's how beta males operate, because they want to get the upper hand and be able to control everything.
Yeah. And I'm just sitting there like, seriously? So then I said, let me put this out there. I said, do you still want to talk to me? Why don't you inbox me? In fact, you inbox me, you can come on to the Chris and Company radio show and tell me what's on your mind. You might be right, right? He didn't say nothing. Of course you didn't, because you're a coward, Boyce Watkins.
Yep.
If you've got a problem with me on Twitter on something that I said, be man enough to come to me on my terms.
They don't want to do that.
Oh, I see. I see. So this is very important. This is very important. It is very important for black folks, law-abiding citizens, decent folks who take care of their families, take care of themselves. They got their act together. They need to listen to platforms like myself, Sean, Professor Black Truth, Torian Rain. Shout out to him. He's been on Chris and Company, and that episode is also on the website. Good brothers who wants the best for all of us, because just because we're doing pretty good individually doesn't mean that the things that happen to people who look like us don't affect us.
Nope.
And so it's sad. It's sad that we're the ones doing, having these discussions like this, and where we could be talking about, things like like having a black economics, right? We
Yeah.
can't talk black economics when the average black family brings in less than $20,000 a year.
Wow. I know
Yes,
that to be true. It's hard to get
absolutely.
jobs because of the discrimination, the HR brick wall erected by white feminists. I mean, it's hard for black men to get the money together because I know this from my own efforts to try to build SJS Direct. And it's hard for us to get that kind of money, but nobody wants to talk about that.
No, no, not at all. Not, listen, I talk with veterans. All right. When I'm not Mr. Chris and on the Chris Cubby radio show, I speak with veterans that have disabilities, issues, going far back to Vietnam, and they still are not paying these guys. I'm talking issues of having Agent Orange and the like. All right? And they're still not being paid. You've got veterans, black veterans that have been denied benefits because they were black.
That's wrong.
And not only the veterans themselves documented it, right? The government has also documented it too.
Complete screw job for serving your country.
Yeah. So not only I walk the walk, but I talk the talk too. And I talk to all veterans, black, white, don't matter. All right. When it comes to black veterans, I do say this: you've got to fight harder. You've got to work harder when it comes to getting your benefits. Well, Chris, why is that? Because there's a system at play. Remember, the benefits that veterans get today were not designed for black veterans. But there was such an overwhelming amount of black veterans in all of these wars, the government was forced to give black veterans
Yeah,
the
they
same.
denied us the GI Bill and all that stuff early on.
Oh yeah, Sean. Oh yeah. Let me tell you something about fathers' rights. Fathers' rights. Okay. Do you know there are some states in the United States, Georgia being one of them, where fathers of children cannot establish visitation and custody with their children?
That's bad.
Yes. In fact, go and in Pink Book Lessons. I don't know if you ever watched her or listened to her on YouTube, but go to Pink Book Lessons channel. She even brought it up. And I said, damn. Finally, besides me, brought up the fact that yes, in certain states, men can't establish visitation and custody with their children with the court. Yes.
Yeah.
And so yeah, Sean. I'm sorry you went through that with the when you with the comics in the 90s.
Yeah.
Does that make you are you angry about that now?
I stopped being angry about it. I just focus on what I want to build. I mean, I'm upset that I wasn't able to do things back then and learn the craft, but I learned the craft on my own because if I wanted to build, so I learned the craft on my own and taught myself, and I learned a lot more than I would have possibly learned at these companies. And the whole thing that upsets me is that I just wasn't able to make the money I wanted to make and be able to build with, because at 50 I could have been with my own home and had all this stuff and been able to build wealth and also get respect from people like my late father, who I wanted to get respect from. I mean, these were things that I wanted to do and accomplish, but I'm able to do things right now, and I thank God I was able to do some things. as related to building as I've been able to. So while I'm upset about certain things, I learned to navigate through my emotions and just work on my goals. And I'm glad to be a little bit further. I wish I could be a lot further, but I'm trying to get where I'm trying to get.
Well, I mean, that's the whole that's the whole part of networking, right?
Yeah,
And so, um, have you been to like certain comic cons and stuff like that too?
I haven't been able to afford to go to them because my money's been messed up. So,
Mhm.
I mean, that's one of the other things. I wanted to do different things, but it just when you don't have the money, you can't do them. These tables, they cost like $600. Admission is like now 50, $60. So getting in is the problem. But the whole thing is the industry is so insular, in some ways so racist, because they don't really like having black creators, especially black men. They don't mind having the bootlicks like Ta-Nehisi Coates on there, but when it comes to actual black creators who are out here and are serious, they don't really like to open a door for us.
You know that's that's something else, man.
Because I
I,
found out that people knew about me far back as 2012. I mean, I had a Facebook friend told me they had been reading my blog since 2012. So that tells me that these companies knew I was around, but they just didn't want to talk to me. They would rather talk to some inexperienced kid and who was so-called woke and hire them from Tumblr. But I've been on Blogger for years talking about the industry, wrote books about the industry, but they didn't want to talk to me. So that shows me that they don't want a creator with like me out there. They just would rather go get an inexperienced person and watch their industry run into the ground rather than hire a qualified black person.
wow, that's wow, you know what? You should use that as, and hell, I'm sure you are. That I was gonna say, hey, you should use that as motivation.
I do use it as motivation.
Yeah, yeah, and never quit.
Yeah,
Never, never say die. Attitude.
because that's what we have to do in new black media. I mean, my mission is to create these positive stories, stories you never heard or experienced in black media. And the only way I can do that again is with everybody's support. I mean, I go out here every day trying to look for different stories, unique stories that you don't get to read or hear about. And that's what new black media is part of their job, is to show the world that we don't get in mainstream media. Because in mainstream media, we get people like Taraji P. Henson playing hood rats and ghetto chicks. We get the color purple 2 times over. I mean, we don't get the other stories about the black experience. We don't get the other stories of black culture. And that's what B1 Black Media is all about, getting us what we can't get from the mainstream media.
Exactly. Sean, before we go, I want to play I want to play this commentary
All right.
to really shore up what this episode tonight is all about. Okay.
All right.
So I'm about to play this commentary, guys, and check it out. And then when it's done, we're gonna wrap everything up. So here we go.
All right. Is it on?
Sean, can you hear it?
I can't hear anything.
You can't?
No.
Okay, let me start. All right, let me start this again. All right. Mhm. Can
Maybe
you
you
hear
could,
it now?
I
Can you hear
can't
it?
hear it. Maybe you could send it to me and I'll try to play it.
Okay, I can email you to it in a few shakes. But yeah, I can email it to you in a few shakes. But yeah, this this email, excuse me, email, this commentary was definitely, something that, yeah, was something that that people need to hear, and how they need to hear it. And so let me email it to you. There it is right there. All right, SJS Direct. All right. Um, okay. All right. So let me turn my volume down. So you couldn't hear me. Okay. Well, it's coming through the board. So I thought you'd be able to.
I thought I
I
would be
thought
able to
you'd be
hear
able to
too.
hear that. Be able to listen to that. So I want to read some of these comments here in your chat. D Wood 78 said there's songs that talk about mistreatment of your veterans, like Born in the USA and Walking on the Line. Let me tell you something. I, all day, all night. There's all kind of songs about the mistreatment of veterans. Computer robots say, please watch out for undercover agents. Well, you know, that's the thing about undercover agents, right? Um, if you're willing to be, if how to put this, if you're willing to go through that much troubling energy to try to be just that, well, then what does that say about your character? What does that say about your personality? You don't have one. Because remember, being on the internet, people can be anything they want to be. That's pretty much the problem. So yeah, you know, it's ridiculous. If that's what they want to do, that's kind of like the chance we take when we talk about these subjects, computer robots. That's what comes with it. Now, once that happens, then we extract them. Yeah. Keating Rourke said, I remember when the Waiting to Exhale book was released. Terry McMillan was feeling herself at a public appearance saying, yeah, they mad, referring to black men. Funny how karma works. Sean, did you see this comment?
Yeah, I saw it.
Absolutely fabulous. And like I said, the computer robots, they're all around us. There are probably a few people in the chat. We don't know. Thing is that if they want to put in that kind of time, then ain't nothing we could do except, all right, you're an idiot. And here's the thing: for what every one person we kick out, or Sean kicks out of the in the chat or anything like that, there's going to be another one taking their place.
Yep.
Now, if you think trolling happens on shows, have you ever sat in on Jason Black's Black Authority?
I've sat on his shows.
You see how many trolls mess with him?
Yeah. My cousin
Yeah.
used to tell me about them. He used to watch my shows. My cousin used to watch my shows, and he would tell me that he found them amusing, the way I would just kick them out.
Yeah,
That's
as
why
you
I came to
should.
StreamYard, because I can kick them out because the YouTube won't give me the tools to deal with them. So
Ah, that's smart. Did you get the email?
I didn't get it yet.
You should have
Wait.
got it. I sent it. Yeah. Oh, that's right. I sent it in a different. Wait a minute. Yeah, I sent it. Oh, it said delivery failed.
Yeah, because
Are
my
you
email is sjsdirectamerica@gmail.com.
right? SJS Direct America at gmail.com says something about host Big East SMTP Cloud Filter Net. I don't know what that is, but okay. I try to send it again. And I was wondering, like, what the hell is going on? Let's see here. All right. Insert files. All right. Let's try this again. All right. Let's see here. Let's try this again. All right. All right. So, yeah. All right, SJS Direct America at gmail.com. Okay. And this one. All right. So yeah. Could I send one more of his recipients? Oh, the file exceeds the maximum message. Ah, okay. So so that's what it is, Sean. It's
All
the
right. Well,
file.
I'll put it on the channel next time.
Yeah, okay.
I'll put it up
All
on the
right.
channel.
All right. Okay. Well, Sean, thanks a lot, man. It was real.
Well, thank you for coming on to tonight's show. I mean, tonight's show was one that I really was looking forward to. Really glad that we had a great show tonight. So, want to thank everybody for coming out to tonight's show. And again, asking everybody to head over to Amazon.com. Help me get the last sales for the year on the SJS Direct 2023 books, John Haynes Godbreaker and John Haynes 1987. And pick up John Haynes at Death Store on Lulu.com. I mean, all the links for these books are available in the description box, and you'll be able to pick up all of these great titles. And I'm hoping you guys head out to pick up the 2024 books. And I want to thank Chris for coming on to tonight's show. Had a really great show tonight. I really enjoyed doing tonight's stream. I really enjoyed spending time with everybody on tonight's stream. And I hope you'll all be here for next week's stream, the first stream of 2024. And I'm hoping you guys will be here for 2024's first live stream, which will be coming next Friday. Everybody have a great evening and everybody have a good night.